Well, the sound of it alone is frightening, and when you see the reality of it, your heart just breaks. A new flesh-eating drug heaping further misery on the drug addiction crisis in America. Our US correspondent David Woywood's just returned from Philadelphia. Good evening, David.
Good evening, Michael. Yes, look, it's confronting stuff. We visited one of America's great cities, Philadelphia, and we witnessed it being savaged by this new drug. Now, it is called Tranq. It is highly addictive, and users, they are openly injecting and dying on the streets in broad daylight. The scariest part about all of this, however, is that lawmakers still don't have much of a plan in place to try and curb its rapid spread.
I lost like 20 of my friends in the past year. Like it's horrible. From Tranq and fentanyl, like it's been insane out here.
The Xylazine is really making us look like zombies, like physically look like zombies. Like my leg looks like it's something out of a horror movie.
Hooked in a vicious cycle of brutal addiction. Zombie-like victims, slumped and barely conscious, they line these streets openly, injecting themselves and each other. They are the tragic face of America's latest desperate drug emergency.
Old heroin, you can go 8 to 12 hours without doing a bag. This is like 2-3 hours later, you're starting to feel sick already.
And that's because here, under this train line in northern Philadelphia, drug dealers have perfected a cruel new cocktail tormenting those at their lowest point.
I OD'd like 13 times in that 1 month because it's hard to adjust to it.
They're cutting heroin, but more often fentanyl, with a powerful animal sedative called Xylazine. It's a lethal mix known simply on these streets as Tranq, and it's supercharging America's raging opioid crisis.
And you can see there's still gauze in there. See the gauze?
Yeah.
That's why it's not healing all the way.
It's taking lives and limbs.
I did inject it. I haven't injected there since then.
Yeah, but it can pop up anywhere is what I'm sort of saying.
Yeah. But I definitely hit there. And it popped up down here too.
The drug rots human flesh. It's quite literally eating them alive.
Like, all this was open like a month ago.
Basically from my knee all the way down to my ankle is like no skin, like all exposed.
Here, Tranq users rely on volunteers to clean and dress their injuries, most far too gruesome to show.
Oh, man.
It's a painful process, but a crucial one.
That's where the tendon is. I know for sure that I'm gonna lose at least one of my legs.
One thing that you don't really get prepared for is the smell of these wounds, that fetid stench of infection, and it's infecting so many people here in this clinic.
Kensington and Allegheny, this is like a drug central right here. I used to live right there on that corner.
Few know the deprivation and the desperation on these streets better than Jose Castillo.
I've heard these streets here described as the Disneyland for
Oh my God, yeah, it's an open air market. Like, it's literally a third world country in the United States.
For years he lived, and more than once, almost died here.
How do you feel now when you see these images? You're 6 months clean now.
I see myself. Like, I used to be that dude. Like, I remember I get like flashbacks of me sitting right here.
Police patrol this lawless pocket of America in name only. It's drug dealers and their masked henchmen running these city blocks.
Is it dangerous for us to be around here?
Yeah, definitely. Especially like with cameras and stuff. Like
A warning realised just seconds later as a street enforcer made it clear.
No. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Hurry up, pull off. Go around them and get away.
Observers aren't welcome. A hot coffee pitched through our window, a stroke of good fortune, according to our guide, Jose, adamant it could have been far worse. Whether by gun or needle, life in Kensington, Philadelphia is cheap.
Look at that guy, he just probably OD'd right there.
Has he?
The lucky ones are revived only to relapse again and again.
It must have been fentanyl because
He got Narcan once and popped right up.
But Xylazine is not an opioid and doesn't respond to life-saving Narcan treatments. Around a third of all overdose cases here in Philadelphia are found to contain Xylazine, and authorities say the drug is spreading at a breakneck speed, racing across the United States and even overseas.
I can't think of anywhere in the world where drugs are sold that would be not at risk of Xylazine being present in the drug supply.
Other US states are now bracing for the full impact of a Tranq tidal wave, dark web imports only undermining a government crackdown on overseas shipments.
The Department of Public Health doesn't necessarily have like a direct way to, prevent Xylazine from finding its way into drugs, but we do want to make sure that people understand the composition of the drugs that we're seeing.
Withdrawal from Tranq is ferocious, its price only keeping addicts coming back for more.
Old heroin, we used to pay $10 a bag. Now we pay $5 a bag, and we get sometimes twice as much.
For stigmatised users crushed by the weight of unrelenting addiction, help is in short supply. It's a narrow road out for the country's most miserable, and those living the horrors of this monumental American failure know it.
I'm worried I'm going to be another statistic, and I don't want to be like that.
Yeah, David Woywood reporting there, and Henry Lynch, the cameraman in the back seat.